Derby County will be without Jerry Yates on Saturday afternoon as Derby County face up against Swansea City at the Swansea.com Stadium. But who else is going to be missing out on the trip to Swansea and who isn't available? Now, obviously for Derby County, they've had their injury woes across the course of this season, none more so than a player by the name of Ryan Nyambe. He picked up his first injury in October, was out until January, picked up another injury, was out for another couple of weeks and returned to the team on Wednesday. Wasn't Saturday, was it? It was Wednesday. After being injured again against Plymouth Argyle, and ultimately got injured again within the first minute against Preston North End. And it's very disappointing that Ryan Nyambe will yet again be missing for Derby County as we head into a tough test versus Swansea City. Now, a little bit further on the Ryan Nyambe situation is Ryan Nyambe has had a scan on Thursday afternoon. He is awaiting the results of that to see how bad the injury is and whether he'll potentially be back this season, or it might just be better to shut him down until next season, which I personally think will be the situation at play. I don't think he'll play another game this year, and I am really sad for Ryan Nyambe because as a player, you've seen exactly what he's capable of. At the start of this season, when he was fit, he was very, very good. Was part of that Derby County team which won 4 of the opening 9 games, found themselves just outside the playoff positions, and ultimately it then went sort of tits up from there. Nyambe got injured, Ozo got injured, Blackett Taylor picked up an injury, and it was just a downhill slope for Derby County in that situation. And Ryan Nyambe is one of the main sufferers of these injury situations, and even at the back end of last season he picked up a bad injury which ruled him out for the start of this year pretty much, and it was disappointing to see Ryan Nyambe go down again on Wednesday night. It wasn't Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday even, on Wednesday night versus Preston, and it's just one of those situations where, was he really fit? I think if we go back a few weeks ago, I spoke about it on this channel, that John Eustace said he would be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and then he started and played 90 minutes about 5 days later, and it just felt as if the situation just didn't really make much sense to me surrounding Ryan Nyambe. I just felt as if either we're not getting the information that is the truth, or they're sort of playing the game of, he's injured, he's not going to be available, and that's sort of the situation. Now, obviously, we all saw him pull up and have to be pulled off after a minute and a half versus Preston North End, so I can't see him playing on Saturday. So it will be interesting to see how the Derby County squad develops with that injury. We obviously then also have the main thing to talk about, which is obviously Jerry Yates's unavailability as a result of his loan spell, where he's obviously come to Derby County from Swansea City, and obviously he won't be available, which leaves Derby County without a natural number 9 available, which is going to be very interesting to see how they develop that. Obviously, we've had Charles Abuka on the bench a couple of times over the course of the last few weeks. Also, the likes of Lennon Wilden's been involved as well, but obviously, I don't think neither of them have made their professional they've made professional debuts for Derby, but none in league competitions. So I don't see John Eustace chucking one of them in from the start, if I'm completely honest. Maybe they'll come off the bench after 50, 60 minutes maybe, and we'll just have to see how it goes. But I'll probably think more than likely it'll probably be Caden Jackson playing up front with Marcus Harness. Obviously, when we talk about Ryan Nyambe, we have to talk about the other fullbacks. Obviously, Elder went down after about 3 or 4 minutes as well. Was able to get through the game and looked in pretty good shape. But obviously, we've seen Curtis Nelson go through the pain barrier for Derby at times. We've seen Sondre Langas. He's currently playing on an injury which needs surgery. Craig Forsyth's done it before. Curtis Davis has done it before. And it's obviously one of those situations where we might not know how bad it is, and if he's not available on Saturday, it'll probably be Eric Peters who steps in for Callum Elder, but we'll obviously have to wait and see with that one. Obviously, Kane Wilson got through the best part of 90 minutes for Derby County as well, if you include injury time. Good performance for Kane Wilson as well, in my opinion. Not his best performance in a Derby County shirt by any means, but certainly a stable, steady game for him. Getting through the game will obviously give him huge amounts of confidence heading into this weekend's fixture versus Swansea City, and hopefully it'll give him the opportunity to make that start heading into the game, give us a little bit more of attacking impetus versus obviously Swansea City side who aren't in the greatest of form at the moment. If you want to look at the form and take a proper preview into that game, make sure you check out my video from yesterday yesterday evening where we previewed the game versus Swansea City, spoke about the likes of Jerry Yates and the opponents who we come up against. And obviously we know that there's a range of players that have already been confirmed to be out until the end of the season, most notably the likes of Dejan Brown, Curtis Nelson, Lars-Jørgen Selverson, David Ozo, as well as Joe Ward, who are all obviously confirmed to be out until the end of the season. So we won't be seeing them in the dugout on the weekend. We may see them behind the dugout, but they won't be playing the game. And coming out of the press conference yesterday, there was no sort of latest update on the likes of Ben Osborne, the likes of Chloe Blackett-Taylor, or even the likes of Kmar Roof, who are obviously all been out injured for a good maybe 3 weeks now, I'd probably say. And obviously that's disappointing because Blackett-Taylor, we were told, was say a couple of weeks behind Kane Wilson, and that would obviously put him sort of back in training now, but we'll obviously have to wait and see. There's no point rushing him back in. He's barely played this season anyway. Obviously it would be nice to have the extra body, but it's one of those where there's no point forcing a Blackett-Taylor in. Kmar Roof, there's no point forcing him. He probably won't be staying next season anyway, unless he comes back and is unbelievable, scores 3 goals in the last 2 games or whatever. And obviously Ben Osborne, we know his situation as well, which I think is more down to the way we've been training and that up until John Eustace coming in. Now, obviously, we've had Jeff Hendrick on the bench the last few weeks and Eric Peters. We haven't had updates on their fitness levels per se, but obviously with them being involved, and Jeff Hendrick's now been involved for the last essentially 3 weeks, I think. I think he was on the bench versus Coventry and has been on the bench since, and obviously will have done a mini pre-season throughout that couple of weeks international break. So I believe he will be ready and available to go, and it would be nice to see him get on the pitch at some point. And if I'm completely honest, it wouldn't surprise me to see Jeff Hendrick come in over the course of the next couple of weeks with these Saturday, Tuesdays that we've got coming up. And I think there's a Friday, Monday coming up as well, with obviously the Easter weekend coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how that one is at play for Derby County and John Eustace as he looks towards the bench, and the likes of Eric Peters and Jeff Hendrick, who I do think are sort of proper backup options but have the quality to make a difference. Now, obviously, the final one and the final player that we really need to talk about is Nathaniel Mendez-Lang. Obviously, heading into the international break, he had been out for about 4 to 5 weeks, but he obviously went away on international duty, played for Guatemala, came back, was on the bench for us on Wednesday, and I do believe that he's got the potential to start on Saturday ahead of Jerry Yates, given the fact that Jerry Yates is out. But I do think it's going to be sort of a little bit of a coin toss between Mendez-Lang and Caden Jackson for that final position up front with Marcus Harness. But I do think there's a potential that we could have a little bit of a shift around, maybe with Jeff Hendrick going into midfield, maybe a Kenzo Haldmine being brought in, and something like that to sort of shake up what we're looking at in the forward line. I think there is a potential where Marcus Harness could be a sole number 9 with the likes of Kenzo and Caden Jackson, or Kenzo and Mendez-Lang in behind to sort of offer a little bit of support to the forward line. Obviously, with not having a proper number 9, you sort of have to open up the doors to those possible opportunities of sort of different formations. Personally, can't see us going to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 if I'm completely honest, because I think for those sort of formations you need to have a proper natural number 9, and Derby County don't have that available for the weekend unless they obviously give one of the youngsters an opportunity. But that's something which John Eustace will address this weekend. Now, if you have not done so already, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell if you have not done so already. Hit the like button as well to help push this video to brand new audiences, and I'll catch you in my next video.